Good morning to all.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
ನಾನೊಂದು ಆರಂಭಿಕವಾಗಿ ಒಂದು 2 ನಿಮಿಷ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ.
ಸರಿ ಸರ್.
ವಿಜಯ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ದಿನಪತ್ರಿಕೆ ಹಾಗೆ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ದಾವಣಗೆರೆ ಫೋರಂ ಸಹಯೋಗದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇವತ್ತು ಸಮಕಾಲೀನ ಕೃಷಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೃಷಿ ತಾಂತ್ರಿಕ ಉದ್ಯಮ, ಅದನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ, ಮಾಡರ್ನ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಅಪರ್ಚುನಿಟೀಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅಗ್ರೋಟೆಕ್ ಎಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿನರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ವೆಬಿನಾರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಇವತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇರಿದೀವಿ. ಬಹುಶಃ ಮಧ್ಯ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಈ ಪ್ರದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಅಗ್ರೋಟೆಕ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಮಹತ್ವದ ವಿಚಾರ. ಅದನ್ನ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಮಾಡಿದವರು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ದಾವಣಗೆರೆಯ ಹುಟ್ಟು ಹಾಕ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಮೇನ್ ಕಾರಣಕರ್ತರಾದಂತಹ ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಸರ್, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಸರ್ ಅವರು. ಹಾಗೆ ಇಂದಿನ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಶೇಷ ಆಹ್ವಾನಿತ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ಗಳಾಗಿ ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ, ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜಿಂಗ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಎನ್ಆರ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್. ಹಾಗೆ ಅವರು ಇನ್ನೂ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಸ್ ನಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ IT ಕಂಪನಿಯನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಗೆ he have a big dream for tier 2 cities in Karnataka also. ಅವರನ್ನ ಪ್ರೀತಿಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾಗತ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಮೊದಲ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ ಆದಂತ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ದಾವಣಗೆರೆಯನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಮೂರ್ತ ರೂಪ ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಅವರನ್ನ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಅವರನ್ನ ಪ್ರೀತಿಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ನಾನು ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಸ್ತಾವಿಕ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಸ್ವಾಗತ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ರೆಡ್ಡಿಗೆ.
ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಸೊ investdavanagere.com ಇಂದ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ
Yes, screen is open sir, just you can use.
So impact on analytics and AI and modern agriculture ಅಂತ. So today what I want to tell you friends is there's a huge challenge for agriculture sector. We are a population of 1.3 billion and then what is our GDP is $3.2 trillion economy. And then our agriculture, even though we have so much of population, our contribution of agriculture to this sector is mere 16%. So this is very very less as such. So farmers have been going through a lot of stress for the past many years. And then we feel it's the right time for us to help them to get the modern technologies like AI, analytics and all this stuff. So government actually, if you go back to many years, it's not that there is nothing of these technologies is not there. It's there in some silos. And now what we are trying to do is we are trying to get all these things into one platforms and trying to make use of this. So today is a watershed movement, I can tell you, as far as agriculture sector goes, because there is a lot of reforms and we have things like the farm sector reforms which has happened, and then the abolition of APMC Act, and in Karnataka government the 79 ABC cases have been those kind of reforms where you can also buy agriculture and you can start your own agritech companies. So then see one example what I want to do now is, see today modern countries like US, Europe and all, they use these technologies. So today a farmer was there basically in our Indian holding, the small to medium sized farmers. So do they have can they use these technologies? So my answer is yes and no again. So now is they were not able to use this technology, but with the advent of new our lot of reforms coming in, and also see I am showing, if you can see here, this is an app known as Dishank. What is this Dishank app is done by the Karnataka government. So this Dishank app basically what it tells is in this, any land if you go and stand on that, you'll use the survey number of that. So in that survey number, what happens is we can know basically it is coming. See in this, you are also seeing the satellite view of that. So let's say this Dishank app, we do another analytical plugin for that. And if you right click on that particular thing, you know last 10 years what has happened on this land. What kind of crops were grown, whether this farmer made a profit, he didn't make a profit out of that particular survey number itself, we can go into that. So how that is possible? See today, if you take Bhumi records, It shows like, what kind of crops were grown in each of these particular survey numbers. Of course, many of these Bhumi records sometimes have been routinely entered. But going forward, what we can do is we can take this 10 years data, do a SWOT analysis for each farmer. Today, a farmer, what he has done is today, I told you, this big data, whatever I'm talking about, is into two areas I have told. One is I'm calling this itself as farming intelligence. So next slide, sir. This farming intelligence, if I tell, it is pre-harvest and post-harvest. Pre-harvest means see the farmers today, what they have done. So they have been going back to their experiences, what their father did, what their friends did, what their neighbors, how they are farming, those kind of things data they were having. Of course, few periodic bulletins over Doordarshan or Krushi magazines, and there are few places in the villages where their information is being given. But we want to tell you that is we can actually collect all this data, put it in a particular big data platform, and know for this farmer can do a SWOT analysis of his own land, both pre-harvest and post-harvest. So post-harvest is see where we get data is collected, and he can know that is capacity planning, forecasting, replenishment. One kind of solution we had done long back for Godrej company in 2003. When a large company can do its own forecasting, planning, budgeting, and what they grow, why can't a farmer do it? So where does it get his data? That's an app. An app has to be there with him. So he will go okay, he will tell. This is your strength of your farm. This is what you did in last 10 years. This is what you grew. So if for with the demand situation for the entire nation can be calculated, what kind of food grains we need, what kind of vegetables we need, all those things. This land is suitable, you are suitable for this. You are this is the market within the thing then you will have for post harvest. What kind of market access you will have? APMCs were there till now. Okay, APMCs will continue to be there, and then you'll have other farm producers or then other what do you say? The private sectors can help them to plug in that gap. Okay, we can provide you this. We are providing you these facilities to you as such. So this is post-farm produce kind of thing which they can do. So going forward, how are these things collected? Basically, this data. So see, though actually, in fact, I'm not able to see the screen, so no problem. So I will share you the screen also. This data, what we used to collect is in various sensors are there. One is we have the satellite data, then there is drones, then there is IoT, Internet of Things, where GPS enabled tractors are there, and a lot of small things also have come up. Like today, data has become see what has happened is data collection is becoming increasingly cheaper. So in many countries, these are used as such. So if you see in the horizon, for example, this particular map here, this is a satellite map, which shows about let's say about 1,000 acres. So you see various zones in this. There's this red, green, and all those things. It shows the soil conditions, the water map, then the all this field monitoring is being done in this. So I just told you where it is. So we can collect basically lot of MIS reports on this particular land for each farmer. So each survey number basically can be surveyed also. And then see this helps in predictions. It also helps in planning for the for the whole organization, agriculture, whatever departments we're talking about, and dissemination of information right from the state level to the dissemination to the least level, from the farmer level. So next slide, sir. Yeah. So now I was telling you, so various kinds of, sensors are used, drones. Then I told you all those things. So what do we measure? Crop stress. Then, on this crop population, weed patches, infestations, crop yield, and then, we also, now climate. See, weather is very predictable now. 95% of the time, we are able to predict, what kind of weather will be there. So we can reduce, for example, if there is a floods, which is being forecasted. At that time, we can take precautions in very much in advance. And if there is a drought, farmers can be told to have drought wherever what kind of crops can be grown with less water or whatever it is. So then basically after this then you have this even soil itself is extremely important, because the soil we are telling our soil is getting degraded, we are having a lot of chemicals are being used, the fertilizers are being used. But how do you maintain the optimal soil conditions itself is a data science. And I know a lot of our co-panelists here are all scientists, so they will agree so whatever they knowledge they study and whatever we get from the field, if this data is collated and put it in a data warehouse, we can churn whatever data you want and we can feed it to you. So that is the beauty of this analytics. So next question, next slide, sir. Okay, so here I think already without the slide itself I had shown about a kind of devices. So that's again radar, data transmitters, drones, cameras, connected devices, cloud architecture, then IoT, all these things I think little bit I spoke also. So next slide. Yeah. So if you see this, this is a kind of we known as KPIs for farming community. It can start with the agriculture ministry itself. I told a minister can start with a thing today this target is yours, a balanced scorecard, and then what is expected of you, what did you achieve, and then he can start with the state level, he can go to district level, he can go to taluka level, he can go to obli level, village level, he can drill down to the least thing. A farmer can have a dashboard of his own. Okay, yeah, what is my thing and what did I produce? I did, if he grows some, let us say 3 to 4 crops, he can know what he can get from rice, what he can get from ragi, or what he can get from apples. What is the risk for each of these vegetables? Of course, there's high risk, high reward also is there, right? Certain things. But in order to reduce that high risk, high rewards, also we can do a kind of forecasting. If you see many times tomatoes are thrown over the road, nobody is there to take it. Onions are thrown over the thing, it becomes so much less. The farmers won't even get the kind of prices what they produce. So why does it happen? Is it not enough storage, cold storage? Or is it not there the predictions have gone wrong? Yes, the predictions as well as the storage, both are accountable. So if we have a prediction system that this state, this particular region needs so much of tomatoes in this particular season. So suppose there is rains, usually when there is rains, the prices goes up very high. So in that, what do we do? Then there are temperature controlled, weather controlled, also growing also can happen. So it will be little expensive, but that is the only solution to bring down the prices and keep them in control. And when there is a glut, then we should know whether these things can be stored, cold storage can be done. What are the vegetables which can be cold, kept in for how long it can be kept, and how food processing companies can also take this thing and produce them into tomato, purees or ketchups or stuff like that. So it comes to every crop, we can use this kind of dashboards we can see also, and they can know basically what it is and stuff like that. This is very simple dashboard which I shown, but hundreds of KPIs, hundreds of key performance indicators across various levels can be built. That's the beauty. Once you have data, you can slice and dice is what we call. So data can be historical data and present data. And we have something like predictive analysis. From here, it goes to predictive analysis. We can even predict. For example, last 10 years, we are having this, and I'm taking an external feed from the weather patterns, from the soil patterns, and the kind of production which is happening, or infestations which are happening. Okay, this is what can going to happen. Today, our population is growing, and we need to actually take a serious call on increasing our production also. This is not only in India, throughout the world it is happening, because we need more food to be grown, and the yield levels even in advanced countries have grown come down. So next slide. So again, these are again few what do you say, KPIs which are earmarked. So so that's how it can go through we can show. So next slide, sir. Okay. So in a nutshell, I talked about see this data science and analytics, artificial intelligence. I cannot complete in 12 minutes, but it can go on forever. In fact, in the future we will do a workshop for interested people. And I want to ask you people one simple question: are Indian villages ready for big data analytics solutions? So my thing is, I made a simple survey. We have one of our coordinator. Her name is Shruti, who is working for investdavanagere.com. She is from this village known as Talya village. Look at this. This village has a population of 2,912 people. They grow 4 different, like, arcanite, coconut, ragi, jawar, and maize. And they have 40 shops here. And number of people using mobile phone, 1,500. And smartphone users, 1,000. So number of bikes, 700 to 800. Number of cars, 50. Tractors, 100. Trucks. So it is progressive village. And if you look at these photos here, you have a, what is farmer center. You have a primary health center. You have schools. 4 schools are there. I'm not shown that. We have a bank. So basic infrastructure is there. So all you have to do is train the people who are working here, and also why suggestion to few government people when we meet also have 2 people. Go and put them get few more computers, get the things get this data from each village, and tell them to put it into a data center. So life is get data from each village into one data center. And my proposition was why don't we do this data center for agriculture thing in Davanagere? Why should it be in Bangalore itself? Because decongesting Bangalore is one of the biggest thing where we are proposing to the government. So next slide, sir. Okay. So what next actually? So Invest Davangere today was formed with the main intention of creating jobs for tier 2 and tier 3 cities. We have identified 5 to 6 sectors. One is agritech, then IT and ITAS. Then we have identified tourism is one. Then we have identified manufacturing industry. There's a 2,000 acres manufacturing facility which is coming up. But believe me, guys, there has been a tremendous response in all these activities and initiatives which we are doing it. So what are we going to do next? We're going to keep looking for new avenues and attract new age farmers to our sectors in the Davangere corridor. Anything within 100 kilometers of Davangere is going to be in our interest range, and we are going to help the people and work with the existing government and see what facilities they can provide for these farmers and the interest groups and all. And request the government of Karnataka and Indian government to establish center of excellence for big data analytics in Davangere. In fact, when I was talking last few days, we have a few of our volunteers and members of Invest Davangere Forum. One I can tell you is data scientists. One is Raghavendra from Washington DC. Another is Shura Shetty. He stays in Seattle in US. And we have various people in Bangalore also. They told, sir, you please tell them, sir, we can do this data center. In fact, let us do a small pilot. We can do a small pilot and adopt few villages, get few volunteers, we can train students and we can get the data and we can show them how this big data can be used. So by telling all these friends, so I'm trying to end this small talk of mine, and I'll be very happy that my other colleagues who are come on board will be speaking to you on the next topics. And I hope this is not the end of it. We'll be doing several more webinars and workshops to keep this thing going. So thanks for everyone for attending this webinar, and anyhow this is a start. So I hope the next speakers will be much will throw more light on this, because they are real time agriculture experts rather than me, who had little bit of data. In fact, I come from IT background and stuff like that. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Farming
ಎಲ್ಲ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ವೆರಿ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಫುಲ್. ಸೊ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಅಂಡ್ ವಿ ಲರ್ನ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿಸ್. ಸೊ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ದಾವಣಗೆರೆಯಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ದಾವಣಗೆರೆಗೆ ಈ ಕಾರಿಡಾರ್ಗೆ ಸೊ ನಮ್ಮ ಶಿವಕುಮಾರ್ ಮಗಡ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ನಮ್ಮ ದೇವರಾಜ್ ಸರ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಸಂಗೀತ ಅವ್ರು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ನಮ್ಮ ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮೇಶ್ ನರ, ನಮ್ಮ ಜೂನಿಯರ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್, ಇವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಶೋಕ್, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಶೋಕ್ ಕಾಲೂರ್ ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ನಡೆಸ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಇನ್ನೂ ಫರ್ದರ್ ನಾವು ಏನು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ದಾವಣಗೆರೆಯಿಂದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಏನ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೀವೋ ಅದರೆಲ್ಲ ತಮ್ಮ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ತಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ರದ್ದೊಂದು ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ದೇಶ ಕಟ್ಟುವ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, ನೇಷನ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸರ್ಸೈಸ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ವಾಲಂಟಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ನಿಮ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಈ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬಾನೇ ನೀವು ಕಷ್ಟ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಸೊ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಮ್ಲಿ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಫುಲ್. ಸೊ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ವೆಬ್ಸೈಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಈಚ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ದು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆ ಲಿಂಕ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಫರ್ದರ್ ವರ್ಷನ್ 2 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ಅಜೆಂಡಾ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇವರಾಜ್ ಅವರು, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ದೇವರಾಜ್ ಸರ್ ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕೃಷಿ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಯಾಕೆ ಪೈಲಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ, ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಕಾರದಿಂದ, ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯಿಂದ, ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಂದ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಯಾಕೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದು ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಡೇಟಾ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ನಡೆಸ್ತೀವಿ. ಒಂದು ಪೈಲಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಕೂಡ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನ ಬೇಕು. ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಇರೋದನ್ನು ಇದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಲೈಕ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲ ಲೈಕ್ ಐಡಿಯಾಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ಪೈಲಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಸೊ ನಮ್ಮ ಸದಾನಂದ ಹೆಗ್ಡೆ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬಾನೇ ಪ್ರೋತ್ಸಾಹ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಲೈಕ್ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಅಂಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್ ಅಂತ ನಾನು 2 ಮಾತು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ನಮಸ್ತೆ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಅವರು, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕೃತಜ್ಞತೆ. ಸೊ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಂತಹ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಇನ್ನೊಮ್ಮೆ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಚಾಟ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಓಪನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡಿಡಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಆದಂತಹ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಉತ್ತರ ಕೂಡ ರೆಡಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಹಾಕ್ಬೋದು. ಇದನ್ನ ವಿಜಯ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಸಣ್ಣದಾಗಿ. ವಿಜಯ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಈ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಯೋಜನ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಖುಷಿ ಪಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣಕರ್ತರಾದಂತಹ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಕೃತಜ್ಞತೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಮುಗಿಸೋಣ. ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ರೀಜಾಯಿನ್ ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ಲಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್.
ಸರ್ ಈಗ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲರನ್ನ ನೀವು ಇನ್ವೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಿರಾ? ಅದ್ರಾಗೆ ಒಂದ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ರೈತರನ್ನ ಒಂದ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೇರಿಸಿಕೊಡ್ರಿ ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ. ಅಂದ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಲಿಂಕ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ವಿ. ಒಂದ್ 35 ಜನ ಒಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿದ್ವಿ. ದಾನಪ್ಪ HM ಆಲಮಟ್ಟಿ ಅವರು. ಬಟ್ ಕೆಲವು ತಾಂತ್ರಿಕವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ರೈತರು ಕೂಡ ಒಳಗೆ ಬರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ವೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ಸೇರಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೀವಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಸರ್. ದಾನಪ್ಪ ಅವರೇ, ನಿಮ್ ಸಜೆಷನ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಈ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ರೈತರ ಜೊತೆ ಒಂದು ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಮ್ಮ ವಾಲಂಟಿಯರ್ಸ್, ನಮ್ಮ ದಾವಣಗೆರೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಇರುವಂತ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟರ್ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ ಜೊತೆ ಒಂದು ಆಫ್ ದ ಲೈನ್ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ನಿಮ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನೇನ್ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಫೋಟೋಗ್ರಫಿ ನಿಮ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಹೊಲಗಳದೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದು ನಾವೇ ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ವೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಇದು, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಒಂದೇ ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಇದು ನಡೀತಾನೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕೂಡ. ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಸದಾನಂದ ಹೆಗ್ಡೆ ಸರ್ ಹತ್ರ ತಗೊಂತೀವಿ. ತಗೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನ ಫರ್ದರ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ರೈತರಿದ್ದೇನೆ ಇದು ಮೇನ್ ಅವ್ರು ಬೆನ್ನೆಲುಬು ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದರಿಂದ ಈ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಇದೊಂದು ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ವಿ. ಇದು ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿನ್ನೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾರು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಈ ಟೈಪ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದು ನಮಗೆ ನಿಮ್ ಜೊತೆನೆ ಒಂದು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಸರ್ ಇದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ.
ಸೊ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ. ವಿಜಯ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಹಾಗೂ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ದಾವಣಗೆರೆ ವತಿಯಿಂದ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಮುಗಿಸೋಣ. ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ನೈಸ್ ವೀಕೆಂಡ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.